Greetings in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the all-wise, true and living God, creator and sustainer of the universe. We thank Allah for coming to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. We thank him for giving to us the Messiah, the living, exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Messiah was the one whom the FBI, under the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, issued a memo directive governing COINTELPRO to prevent the rise of a Messiah that would unify and electrify the black masses. Scripture says, how will they know unless they have a preacher? How can they have a teacher unless he be sent? We thank Allah for the raising up of one from among us as a divine leader, teacher, and guide and warner in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, National Representative of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, sitting in the seat of the leader of the Nation of Islam. I greet you with the greeting words of peace as spoken in the Arabic language of our ancestors of Assalamu Alaikum, which simply means peace be unto you. The appropriate response would be, and unto you be peace. I am Sister Alice Muhammad, your host of TheSureTruth. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to share with you the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his national representative, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Genesis 15:13 says, "And he said unto Abraham, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Deuteronomy 7:6 refers to a chosen people, and it reads, You are a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for himself, a special treasure above all the peoples on the face of the earth." Black people, we are the foolish of the world. However, God has chosen us by himself and chosen us to be a very special people for a very special purpose. Black people, it is time to be unapologetically black. Marcus Garvey said it best. He said, "The black skin is not a badge of shame, but rather a glorious symbol of national greatness." Malcolm X said, "It's time to wake up, clean up, and stand up. It's time to unite, organize, and strategize." Fannie Lou Hamer said, "I am sick and tired of being sick and tired." Black folks, we suffer the most mistreatment and microaggression there is of any people on the face of the earth. We receive very little respite or any relief from the stress of white supremacy and racism here in America. Dr. King told us in the 60s, as then as now, as black people, we are still feeling disrespected, right? Well, why don't we redistribute the pain? Mistreatment of black folks mean we should engage in economic withdrawal with those who mistreat us. Keep our money in our pockets. Eventually, anyone who disregards and disrespects us will feel the pain when black people redistribute the pain. Unite. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "Our unity is more powerful than an atomic or hydrogen bomb." The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says, "You notice how everybody that's got hydrogen and atomic bombs, they don't run up on them. They want to dialogue with them because they have the power to inflict pain by the weapon that they have. We have never been able to use the weapon of unity because we're beefing among ourselves all the time. We never settle our problems with each other, so they pick us off one by one. Why don't we get our people together, our rap and culture communities? Why don't we get together and let's sit down and work out an organized strategy that has a unified approach that will inflict pain when pain is necessary? And then when we've got that kind of juice with those of us that can call millions of people together in an organizing way, you could produce change without bloodshed. Unity is key to our survival. With that being said, in addition to unity, black people, we need to get on code. We don't have a code, a black code of conduct. White people have codes, and they speak and use those codes every day, and they go over our head. Let me share with you an excerpt out of Message to the Black Man, this book right here that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote, Message to the Black Man. It's a very timely book, and I'm just going to share some things with us that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says was relevant then and it's relevant now. He says, today is a day of decision. We have lived here more than 400 years. That you already know, according to prophecy. The prediction of our stay among these people, the time has expired. The time is up. The decision is being made for your departure and mine. It is most important to Almighty God, whose proper name is Allah, that I speak to you according to the time that we are living in now. Today, you are standing face to face with the alternative of accepting your own or forever being erased from the face of the earth. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad shares with us that we must stop relying upon the white man to care for us. We must become independent people, so-called Negroes. This is what we should be doing, okay? Separate yourselves from the slave master. Pool your resources, education, and qualifications for independence. Stop forcing yourself into places where you are not wanted. Make your own neighborhood a decent place to live. Rid yourself of the lust of wine and drink, and learn to love self and your kind before loving others. Unite to create a future for yourself. Build your own homes, schools, hospitals, and factories. Do not seek to mix your blood through racial integration. Stop buying expensive cars, fine clothes, and shoes before you are able to live in a fine home. Spend your money among yourselves, build an economic system among yourselves, and protect your women. Also, there is a black code that we should consider following as we strive to come into unity as a people. The black code says we do not steal from one another. We do not kill one another. We do not sell or offer drugs to one another. We do not combine our dollars. And we do, let me rephrase that. We do combine our dollars and buy collectively as a group. We protect our own women and children first. We educate our own at every chance. We do not fight one another. Brothers protect and build up one another. Sisters protect and build up one another. Brothers protect and build up sisters, and sisters protect and build up brothers. We look for every opportunity to stand or to start our own business, servicing the needs of our people. That's good advice. And then here we have a black code that we should take into consideration to implement as we strive to come together in unity and settle our differences. I pledge allegiance to my own black self-respect and to the respect of all other black and shades of black people on planet Earth, all of whom are victims of the system of white supremacy and racism. And I pledge to use all of my life, energy, intelligence, and creativity in all areas of people activity. And those areas of people activity are economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war, and counter-war. So we are going to pledge to use all of our life energy, intelligence, and creativity in all 9 areas of people activity to eliminate the global system of racism and white supremacy on planet Earth, and to replace it with justice so that there can be peace on earth. Now, this is not difficult to try. We've done everything else. We've tried everything else. And there's a saying in the Nation of Islam that after Islam, everything else fails, then comes Islam. You don't have to be a member of the Nation of Islam, because whether you realize it or know it or not, all black people are members of the Nation of Islam. Unity is key to our survival. I'm going to share some excerpts. Well, no, I'm going to stay with Message to the Black Man, because that's the theme of this lecture, this information we're sharing out of Message to the Black Man that we really need to consider. Now, you may ask the question, do we have qualified men and women for self-government? The answer is yes, we do. The answer to the question is yes, we do have to be equal in knowledge with every nation to be successful in operating our own government. Are we qualified? I believe we are. We have black people in every discipline that you can think of that we are functioning now currently under the government or the system of white supremacy and racism. Let me ask the question again. Do we have qualified men and women for self-government? The answer to the above question is yes. We do not have to be equal in knowledge with every nation to be successful in operating our own government. Were those whites who first came to this country seeking self-government equal with England's parliamentary lords? There are probably many independent people who do not have, among them many who have the know-how of the American educated class of the so-called Negroes. We have enough technicians such as mathematicians, construction engineers, civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, physicists, chemists, educators, agriculturists, navigators, astronauts that are among, at the time of this writing, it was 22 million. That has probably since doubled. We're 40 million plus or more of us. You will find scholars or scientists whom we can use in every branch of government. Then there are our own independent people outside of this country who would be glad to help us get going in a country or state for ourselves. We do not expect to build, nor do we desire to build a government pattern after the order of this white race. As we can see the chaos, the confusion, the destruction, literally Allah God is going to obliviate this country, as we are currently witnessing the fall of America as we speak. Naturally, we would need help for the next 20 or 25 years. After that, we will be self-supporting. The spirit of doing for self is now fast coming into our people. They only need a new education of self in others. That is a reality that we can look forward to. Okay? How can we unite? So you say that we cannot unite and produce our own necessities. All of this information is coming out of Message to the Black Man. We are 22 million or more people depending on the white American citizens to produce food, clothes, shelter, transportation, employment, and our educational training. And if they, white Americans, do not share equally with us, we charge them with discriminating. Some of us will go to the extreme of discarding ourselves in trying to force the white American citizens to give equal respect. The love of self and self-respect, along with the will to do something for self, if given a chance, will get you the respect of all civilized nations. It is a shame and a disgrace to the intelligence of any people to lie at the feet and doorstep of another nation asking, praying to be cared for. Love and unity of self and kind is the key to our salvation. If you say we cannot unite, you are wrong. You can unite. Before your very eyes, you see the believers who believe in Allah God and His religion, Islam uniting, and this divine power from Allah working among us, uniting us into a nation of brotherly love. Disapprove the lies of the old saying that the Negroes cannot unite. I agree with you who are in the Christian churches, lovers and followers of white Christianity, that you cannot enjoy love and unity among yourselves. The basic aim and purpose of the religion Christianity was to deceive other races, namely the black, brown, yellow, and red, to make an easy prey for the white race. In future lectures, I'm going to share white people's perspective on Christianity that bears witness to what I just read and the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in regards to the purpose of the religion of Christianity, which was not the religion that Jesus of 2,000 years ago taught. As we know, Jesus of 2,000 years ago was a black man. Christianity did not exist during that time. So we continue. Today, you and I both see the powerless forces of Christianity unable to bring about peace among those who profess it. Since Christian Europe and America cannot bring peace to their troubled world and all their satellite nations as helpers, what kind of peace can they make for us? So with that being said, I'm going to close. We're going to listen to some and view some videos that is sharing with us the importance of our unity, and it is something we really should look forward to giving some serious thought, followed with action, okay? I leave you as I came before you with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum.
Today, I was watching a documentary that was explaining life on a particular plantation, and it came to a part that really caught my attention, really made me think. In showing the exterior of the plantation, they spoke about the picket fence that was surrounding the big house. The fence served as a barrier for both the house slaves and the field slaves. See, field slaves are not permitted to walk beyond this picket fence. If they had a message to deliver, they had to deliver it to the house slave, and vice versa. The house slave was not permitted to go beyond this fence to mingle with the field hand. They often had to prove that their loyalty lied with the slave master and his family. See, this fence has been a great divide among blacks for generations. But see, I can't just have a discussion about house Negroes and field Negroes. What I'd like to look at is how this divide even started and where it left us. Drop the footage.
Most American school children learn to recite this little phrase. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Columbus, in fact, was just one of many explorers sponsored by European monarchs in the 1400s who were all trying to find a better, cheaper, faster route to Asia than their neighbors.
See, that's the version of colonization that you get in school, which is very patriotic. What I want to show you is the truth, minus the sugarcoating. When Europeans set out to colonize multiple countries all over the world, it was never a peaceful process. Whatever land they sought to take over or whatever slave labor they intended to create, they faced extreme opposition, as they should. The initial phase of colonization is always the most violent, which typically involves genocide or extermination of some format.
Would it not be contrived to send smallpox among those disaffected tribes of Indians? We must on this occasion use every stratagem in our power to reduce them.
These takeovers were by any means necessary. military killing, spreading disease, burning villages, burning crops to induce starvation, any means in disrupting a way of life for pure economic gain. Even after this initial step, colonizers needed survivors to stop resisting. So step number 2 was implemented, which was the process of creating less resistance. This was a methodical tactic. The best way to get resistors to stop fighting for freedom, true liberation, was through the process of assimilation, forced assimilation.
Who can give me the names of the last 4 presidents? I would call on you, Ohayasa, but it must be by a white name. Have you chosen one from your book?
No. James, your name is Toby. I want to hear you say it. Your name is Toby. You're going to learn to say your name. Let me hear you say it. What's your name?
Kunta Kinte.
When the master gives you something, you take it.
Look for the 3 girls, Maud.
No!
I'll bring back the blackfellas camp.
No, it's mine, kid, mine!
It's the law, Maud.
No!
I've got no say in it.
No, mine!
Mr. Neville's orders are not paid. Listen, 1 inch and I'll lock your mother up. Neville's their legal guardian. Come on, little one. You sit up and you stay. I got the papers, Maud.
No, Dana! No!
I've got no say in it. Get in the bag. Don't move. Nothing you can do here, old girl. Nothing you can do.
See, forced assimilation removed some of the very basics of who we were. It removed our culture, our language, our name. Do you know how much history was lost just by the removal of your name? But what was once forced upon our ancestors eventually became a matter of survival. And thus, step number 3, economic assimilation. What do I mean? Again, the motive of colonization is pure economic benefit. And in colonizing a nation, stealing resources and using free slave labor through the use of murder, deceit, thievery, and oppression creates an economic wealth system that is so disproportionate. When your whole race is forced to survive off of this, it won't be long before you naturally desire to be over here, where you can survive economically. And now let's go back to the Great Divide. See, anyone on this side of the fence almost always had economic advantages and was considered to be in a different class. Slowly, the goal changed from fighting for liberation to how can I be more like my oppressor? Yes, for survival, better economics, and ultimately to please him. But let's see how this fence has divided us. It divided those who looked more European compared to those of African descent. We've heard it, light skin versus dark skin. This fence also divided those that obtained special skills that the slave master deemed necessary to continue to build his empire, compared to those that did not have those skills. And those that had the skills had the opportunity towards their wealth system. This allowed slaves to buy into their hierarchical class system, which sadly today still exists. See, it's often from this divide that you get the "I have arrived" speeches and reprimands on why you haven't. This fence also divided those who could manipulate the English language well or master the mannerisms. Still today, you have those that will shun you if you speak the master's language well, and vice versa. You have those that will shame and look down upon those that cannot create subject-verb agreements or conjugate a verb. And to those people I say, you do not want to see my outtakes. But don't get it twisted. Even with forced and economic assimilation, some field Negroes and house Negroes were still not divided. Because they were aware of, one, that both of them were still slaves, and two, they were fully aware that on the other side of that fence that I didn't create was my sister or my brother. It was only when we lost sight of who we were to each other that division set in. And it only takes one generation to be broken, to lose sight. Then the division is self-contained.
And we had this aunt who could pass for a white woman. And every time she would come to visit, she would give the light-skinned children a quarter. And she would give the dark-skinned children 10 cents. And when my grandmother found out that that was happening, she would make us give the money back. She wouldn't allow us to take money from her at all.
See, this fence has served its purpose in our community. It has divided us among color lines and economic class. It's divided us based on levels of European education and knowledge of European mannerisms. It has divided our very thought of what's right and wrong. The great divide of this fence leads us to where we are as a people today, still fulfilling its purpose. And I won't sit here and blame those that have assimilated more, whether consciously or subconsciously, for the sake of economic advancement. I don't blame those that lash out and say, "You ain't acting black." Because the truth be told, most of us don't know what acting black is, because that was stripped away from us generations ago. They associate black on the very premise of what oppressors told us black was, which was bad, ignorant, vile, or non-human. I won't even blame the millions of girls around the world that struggle with seeing that their dark skin and kinky hair is beautiful. And I won't even blame the European educated speeches that go out from your own race, shaming you on why you have not made it over to the land of plenty economically. Today is not about blame. Today is about understanding. If you understand science, you know that every action has a reaction. Every cause has an effect. And as a whole, the cause of assimilation has definitely had an effect. You want to see your race back balanced, thriving, economically and culturally, and truly liberated. It can only be done through unity. And unity and liberation starts here. This picket fence is a part of everyone's life. We all have it, and it's no shame in having it, but there's shame in knowing you have it and not trying to remove it. So this whole process starts with you.